we still have to pay attention to the fact that insecurity and, a health crisis will remain one of the things that do block a nation from productivity and, investments coming in. So again, we do hope that the government is on their toes to solve all of these issues, in Africa, like all of the African governments, and, bringing it down home to in Nigeria as a whole. So
politics and business, they are inseparable.
Absolutely.
So whenever you hear something like that, you see something like that, let's understand that there is a hidden power move.
Absolutely. So in Nigeria, businesses lose roughly 3% of their annual sales to outages. To put that into perspective, that is 70.7% of Nigerian firms rely on their own power to run business. And that's just above, South Africa and Tanzania, that is about 63.3% and 38.7% respectively. The federal government rejected a loan of over $700 million from the World Bank, which was supposed to, help to push towards the energy sector and, for basically improvements right there. But the federal government rejected it. And now we are not, again, I like to say we're not politicians here, but it's still shocking to me that we have a lot to do and they would reject a loan of that amount.
I don't think there's anything wrong for him declining that or rejecting that loan, because we're owing enough already. We're owing a lot. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Nigeria is out of 3 African countries, right? Nigeria is the number one that we use self-generated power to run our daily businesses and all of that. And when there is no electricity in Nigeria, businesses, companies, factories, whatsoever, there's a possibility that production stops. Welcome to Across Markets by Business 360. I am Vera Ifechuku, your host, and joining me is
Joy Abia, your co-host on the space,
and
Austin TROG, financial literacy educator and copywriter.
Welcome, Austin. It's nice having you here on the show.
Thank you.
Welcome. Okay. To begin, we are beginning on a very sober note because, we all know some of the news that is circulating. First is the news about the kidnapping in Oyo State. While we do sympathize with everyone who has been affected by, this incident, this tragedy, and we pray that the government does, act fast and is able to retrieve the victims as soon as possible.
Also, we have the resurgence of the Ebola virus, which is currently on now in, some parts of the continent. So this is a sign and a call for us to, we all need to maintain good hygiene, and we all know how expensive medications can be. So also is people coming to visit you if you're down. That is also very expensive. So it is your responsibility to keep yourself safe out there and maintain healthy and safety preventive measures.
Okay, so while these are like the stories on your news feed, on your TV, we still have to pay attention to the fact that insecurity and a health crisis would remain one of the things that do block a nation from productivity and, investments coming in. So again, we do hope that the government is on their toes to solve all of these issues, in Africa, like all of the African governments, and, bringing it down home to in Nigeria as a whole. So yes, thank you. Moving on. The first issue that we will be bringing to you today. If you've been watching at least the past few episodes of Across Markets, you know that we have been saying, that a lot of indicators are pointing to the fact that Nigeria is doing well. On the contrary from, let's just say, the news that some of the things that are going around that are making us, that stand in the emotional places for us. But then in the front lines, the numbers are actually quite encouraging. And so that brings me to the stock markets. First of all, one of the indicators that the country is doing well is always to look at the stock market. I think I was having a conversation with about 2 I'll just call it two elder colleagues, or just I'll just say friends, who they both work in like the banking sector and also in business. And they were just like, we I just brought up the conversation about how, okay, I've been looking into all of these numbers because of the show. And they're like, yeah, like a lot of, the stock market has been doing well, and they pointed to the fact that there's some infrastructure that has been done within, let's just say, Lagos state and some of the other states, that have actually reduced like maybe cost of transportation for some businesses, and has sort of added to the positive, should I say, positive numbers that we're seeing now. And yeah, like, I'm just like, a lot of people are in agreement to what's happening, okay, even though it's still yet to translate, like we would always say. But like, now the stock markets has been performing really well, and since the beginning of this administration, this Tinubu administration, we are not politicians here, we are just looking at the numbers. Okay, so the All-Share Index has surged over 300% since he came on seat and till this date, right? So as at the time he came in, it was about 55k points, and now it's close to 250 points, thereabout 250k points, pardon me, thereabout. And of course, I don't need to say too much to let you know that there's a huge difference in those numbers, and that's a huge surge. And then the market capitalization as well has gone to from about 60 trillion naira since when he came in. Now it's about I think 130 trillion naira. Now like I said, throwing it to all of us here, like I just said, it's yet to, I mean, even before we came into the studio, some of our, like, we were speaking with some of our colleagues, and then we were just talking and throwing it out there, like, what do you think about the numbers, like the stock, all of those things. They're good, they're showing that some things are happening, but then the average man is yet to experience it. But then how do we balance ourselves in this economy? Like, what are the things to look at, or what does this stock market say? What's your opinion? Austin, now you're here, like, you're into your financial literacy as well. Okay, so what should the average man take from this story?
Oh, okay. Thank you very much, Joy.
Yeah.
From financial literacy standpoint, I think the average person, when you hear something like this, the first thing you want to do is you want to find out what this news means to you as an individual. Like, what is an index? Because, like you rightly mentioned, right from the time the president came into power, right? So, and we are now saying, yeah, this increase, this surge, how does it translate to benefit the common man, right? And what you don't know, there's no way you can benefit from it, right? So as a common man, you want to know, okay, what is an index? So in a simple language, an index is a measure that tracks specific assets, all right, in the market. Let's say, for example, we have the bond market, we have the stock, we have these are different sectors of the market. So an index tracks the specific asset class of the market, all right?
Yeah.
So, for example, in the US, of course, this is what a lot of Nigerians are used to. The S&P 500. So generally, S&P 500 tracks the performance of the top
500
performing companies, right? The big companies, the 500 ones. Yeah. Then in Nigeria here, we have the NGX 30. So the NGX 30, for example, that tracks the 30 companies that are performing well in market capitalization and liquidity. All right. So I know that's a lot. So, but that's this for now. That's what you need to know.
So the first thing is,
yes, just note an
what
index,
an index is.
So an index is a statistical measure that tracks the performance. Okay, what is this asset class doing? What is the performance of this asset class? Do you understand? And real estate has its own, so different sectors like that. So that's how you should look at it.
Okay.
And if you have any interest to invest in any of these markets, that's where you should start.
Okay. Vera, so what's your take on
Well,
our
my take
numbers?
on the numbers is that, I mean, obviously the market has grown 3.5 times, how it was before Tinubu got into the seat here. So, and if we combine the value of all the NGX, just as she has rightly said, it's around 130 trillion naira
Market
up
cap,
to this time since Tinubu came to the office. But if we also want to look at it here, we need to know how such growth also happens. Like what's also caused this growth for the past years he has been on seat. And we can say one of the things that could cause it is share prices that rise significantly. Share prices rising significantly. We also have the investors who are now more confident and they are going into buying more stocks. Yeah, that also contributes to the growth and all of that. Yeah. Also, we also have new companies that gets listed to the NGX, and also I feel like those are the things that encourage
and that
growth.
Reminds me.
Okay.
All right. You see, this you just said the participation of the common man.
Yeah.
And that translates to, nowadays you can see a lot of people peddling, here are 10, here are 5, so number of stocks you should buy. So a lot of that money is going into the market. A lot of people, when you see these influencers talking about these things, people are actually investing.
Yes, they are.
Yeah. So that is what's really driving the market right now. Unlike before, there was no such knowledge.
Yeah. So I mean, aside, maybe we may not just attribute everything to just one man. At the end of the day, it's a collective economy, right?
Yes.
Exactly.
I do know that for certain, I know, especially, I think especially this, like the younger generation are actually putting more eyes in stock market. Like it's very intriguing to me because I just wake up every day and then when I'm scrolling past, I just see like someone that I know is like just around our age, and then she's saying, oh, I invested in this stock and it did this. Oh, I invested my whole allowance, from the NYSC, scheme, like the NYSC money that they get, the allowance. I invested everything into, and I'm just like, it's so surprising. I'm like, well done. Like nobody's backing down. Everybody's trying to like it. So it's like all of that money is also part of the, it still makes up that that capitalization, the money that all of the improvements that we've seen. People are, as much as a lot of people are complaining about the economy and the prices and fuel and everything, some people are still making good money moves, and that's like a really good signal for us Nigerians. Yeah. Amazing. Okay. So we're now moving into like the sector, our sector signal. So today we are focusing on the energy sector. Okay. So, we already know that energy is one of like one of the major challenges that we face in Nigeria. Like for whether it's the consumer, whether it's the business person, everybody is facing the impact of an unstable, the instability in the energy sector, right? And so some of the numbers are saying that, a report from the African Development Bank says that every business owner, right, is already spending like a lot of the power outages that come from from this country, for example, is costing them a lot more for a huge amount of sales, right? So in Nigeria, businesses lose roughly 3% of their annual sales to outages. To put that into perspective, that is 70.7% of Nigerian firms rely on their own power to run business, and that's just above South Africa and Tanzania, that is about 63.3% and 38.7% respectively. So Africa as a whole I mean, we're Nigerians and we know that a lot of these things affect us from, as indigens, but then we still have major African um countries in the continent that do face the issues of power as well. But let's just say some people look like, let's just say, how do I say it? Some people wear more makeup than the others, the other countries. But yeah, like the numbers are still showing that. And this is, leading to a shocking point. Okay. It's shocking for me, but I'm bringing the information to you that as of like early, maybe last month, May, the federal government rejected a loan of over $700 million from the World Bank, which was supposed to, help to push towards the energy sector and, for basically to improvements right there. But the federal government rejected it. And now we are not, again, I like to say we're not politicians here, but like it's still shocking to me and that we have a lot to do and they would reject a loan of that amount. What do you guys have to say? Where do we start from?
Let's start from here.
All right.
Yeah.
Like I always say, when conversations like this come up, wherever I am, I like to take it back to the economy. One of the things we miss, especially in this African terrain, politics and business, they are inseparable.
Absolutely.
So whenever you hear something like that, you see something like that, regardless of, should I say, what we call sensationalism in media, right? Regardless of all the whatever you hear, those. Let's understand that there is a hidden power move.
Absolutely.
Right. So I was discussing out there with some of my friends. I don't want to bring that into this show, right? But there is. I don't. If I talk more than this,
definitely
so I
don't talk more. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's just say
there are always some things at play.
Move.
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, of course. But I mean, Vera, do you want to say something?
Well, I'm not Mr. President for reject. I'm not Mr. President, and I can't actually know the reasons because the deep dive of those things which I might not have knowledge about. But coming from the point of the lane Nigerian here, there are times where we'll be like, Nigerians are owing so country, so amount and all of that. And if you want to take it from that perspective, I don't think there's anything wrong for him declining that or rejecting that loan because we're owing enough already. We're owing a lot. Yeah. So Nigeria is out of 3 African countries, right? Nigeria is the number one that we use self-generated power to run our daily businesses and all of that. And when there is no electricity in Nigeria, businesses, companies, factories, whatsoever, there's a possibility that production stops in terms of a company that produces or manufactures products. To some extent, production stops. We have machines that become idle and all of that. And once the machines become idle, they start getting to the repair mode and all of that. We also have like employees who cannot even work efficiently, right? Because of, there are some companies you can be at where they have power issues and all of that. The environment is not so conducive for working and all of that. Yeah. We also have deliverables or deliveries that are being delayed in terms of dispatch and all of those things. Deliverables being delayed and, revenue opportunities are also lost, right? So in terms of the president not accepting that loan, coming from the lane Nigerian, I don't think we need to get to owe more to any other country. We just need to find, at the end of the day, we still figure out a way of how we can get things done. And for some reasons, when you're in certain situations, you tend to provide solutions yourself. And before you know it, you see yourself, pushing amidst the troubles or the situations in the country.
I
So
mean, that's actually that's a good one, Vera, actually. You're right. I mean, anybody can say we don't need to owe more. We don't need to take more money to go.
But there is a danger to that. You agree?
It like a danger to
When you
taking more
say,
money.
yes, taking more money. Let me explain. Now, let's assume we are running this country as a business entity, right? To be safe, I know a lot of investors, they don't even run their business with their money. The safest money to run your business
It's true.
is debt, right? It's not even called debt, it's leverage.
Yes, leverage. You're right.
In fact, the stock market we are talking about right here, it's still part of it. When you are buying stock, you are like you are buying a part of the company. It means in translation, you are lending money to the company in exchange for a part of do you understand?
cake, yeah.
So the question now is, how are we using this money?
That's it. That's it.
yeah,
Because if we are talking about a business, let's say Nigeria is a business entity and we are borrowing money, are we borrowing to expand? Okay, where are we putting this money? We must have done our due diligence. Okay, if we put this money here, it is the projected return we are likely going to. Do you understand?
Yes,
So,
I do.
if we are talking about, that's why I say business, economy, and politics are inseparable.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you understand?
yes, definitely.
So we are just being sentimental about it, looking at it from the political perspective. Because when these things go sour, nobody is held accountable. These people are going to leave office. At the end of the day, they are going to inherit, the next government is going to inherit more debt, and that cycle continues.
Yeah.
That's just. So if we are really holding this book accountable, debt is a very good thing. It's a very good instrument too.
It is actually. With what Vera said about having, so like maybe in case where you have to like maybe reject a loan because maybe you have to now maybe look within the country to see, okay, how can we even solve our own problem? But I mean, maybe they're taking that approach, but one thing I definitely know is, within, like, from speaking from that point, from within, we know that Dangote refineries, right, they are really pushing, a lot of effort within that sector, the energy sector, to actually solve those problems. And we can see that the government actually so far has been supportive to him, to the company so far. You may not agree, some may not agree, but so far, especially maybe in recent times, with all of the moves towards, like, that they've been making, and then a lot of capital that they've been raising as well, and they still plan to raise to do, to expand and then, solve more problems. So maybe, I'm just looking at it from how Vera said it, like, okay, that move
It's
can
risky.
be okay. It's actually, I mean, there's nothing you do, especially at that level, without risk. Okay, so at the end of the day, but yeah, we'll keep watching to see what plays out for in this sector, and in the continent and Nigeria. All right.
Speaking of energy, let's go into the spotlight for today.
Okay, so I mean, we started with the stock market doing well. So in the energy sector, we're spotlighting the IEI, which is the International Energy Insurance. So they are part of, like, the top 10 performing stocks on the stock market, right? Which it was, as of May, it was the second best performing stock. And this analysis was gotten from Naira Matrix, just to be sure, right? And so it closed in May with 64.36% month to date gain. That's just May alone, right? And it's moved from I think the share price moved from 2 naira 75 kobo to 4 naira 52 kobo. So yeah, continue.
So yeah.
All right, please go ahead, Vera.
Okay. So in an economy where energy assets is a high risk, these people are successfully, they underwrite these assets and is essentially betting on the country's industrial backbone. So their growth reflects on markets that is increasingly looking for, companies that provides this stability in volatile sectors. So investors are clearly rewarding the IEI for navigating the technical and financial hurdles of the country, and they have paralyzed their competitors. So let's keep our eyes open and let's be observant for the Q2 filings. So that's where we see if this rally is built on real cash flow or if it's just the market sentiment.
Kudos to IEI. I mean, I would say it's a well financially backed company, being one of the Nuremberger companies as well. So yeah, kudos to them. And I'd say, well done. Do you want to put your money here? Let us know in the comments. Okay, so what to watch out for? We're definitely going to be watching out for whatever the changes will be for the monetary policy rates, coming soon. And we've also noticed, like, again, the dollar has also been fairly stable. We closed at about 1,372 naira to a dollar as of May, and things have been relatively stable, for the past this year specifically, and we're looking forward to see what's going to what the Monetary Policy Committee is going to decide on going forward, having held the rates as a last month.
We're also looking forward to the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, that is the MAN, to release their mid-year updates. So after seeing the manufacturing sector's contribution to the GDP, which hit 9.57% in Q1, we need to see if the momentum held up in May, despite the power costs we discussed earlier.
Before we close, we're going to ask Austin to give us some financial literacy tips for those who want to do better with their money, and having heard of like the positivity from the stock market does not mean you should just go right away and hop on the next whatever stocks that we may have mentioned here. So we're going to leave it to Austin. Also, what are the main, or should I say, what are the basics that someone needs to do before even putting their money in any form of investment? What are the financial steps that someone needs to take to start gaining power for their money and taking control of their finances?
Oh, thank you very much.
Okay.
I foresaw it that because of these numbers, a lot of people are going to rush and put their money in the market. It doesn't mean it's good for you as an individual if you don't know what is happening in the market, right? So as a beginner, your first step is not going to put your money in the market. You mentioned earlier that people put their alawi and all that because a lot of people peddling, that money will be gone. That's the truth. So if to be safe, investment is a habit, right? And you are not investing because you want to get your money out right now. It is value. Those people who, you ask yourself, those people who are peddling these stocks, 5 stocks to buy in the market, what is exactly is the value that company is bringing? How does that value benefit you? Do you understand? So there are a lot of boxes you need to tick. So to drive home just 2 points. Number one, you have to read financial statements. For example, I don't want to mention the companies, all right? So, but there are a lot of those stocks they are talking about.
Sorry, even before you read financial statements, I'll even say know your why.
Yes, all right?
Yeah,
so
go ahead.
That's basically what it is. Why are you truly investing, right? So when you know why you are investing, that will even drive you to the sector you are going. For example, I am more in the real estate sector, right? And because I already have this knowledge, There is no peddler who is going to peddle stock to me, right? So time ago, I made a video about buying land with 10,000 naira. So a lot of people were bashing me. What they never knew was I was talking from the standpoint of a real estate investment trust.
Mm.
The same way you can buy those stocks if your interest is in real estate, you want to build wealth in real estate, and you don't have some millions, why not start with stocks in real estate? And you have these little stocks you can buy in real estate and start building from there. So that's why it's very important to know your why. Sometimes it is agriculture. Do you understand? So when you have already discovered your why, the next thing is yes, know the numbers. Numbers don't lie. Right? Okay. When you look at the financial statement, you know how the company, if it is lying, you know how do they generate their money. These numbers, so they are making so much. Some of them, it is people like you that are still bankrolling those companies. Those numbers are going to be there when you start studying financial statements. To the average person, those information you will miss them. All right. So don't just rush. Save your money, build a saving habit, because that's where it starts from. That money, maybe you want to invest 1 million or 100,000 monthly, for example. Rather than put it there, why not put that money there in savings? There are different instruments. For example, you can put 100,000, 20,000 in money markets. All right. So when you put those money there, to instead of normal savings, right, you have a better interest rates while you are gathering knowledge. So start with your why and be financially literate. The same way you can pick up your novel and read, you should be able to pick up the financial reports of a company and read it and understand the story. Because every financial statement tells a story. So the question is, do you know the story?
Thank you so much, Austin. Thank you for joining us today. I hope that this episode was very, very beneficial to you because it's more different from the other ones. And do not forget to like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment on anything that you feel is intriguing and you would love for us to talk about, and maybe anybody you want to see on the show. That being said, that is bye for now. My name is Joy Abia again, and I remain your host, and Vera, my co-host on the space. Okay, and that is bye for now. See you in the next episode.